Being a hockey fan is an awesome thing. Meeting some of these people in the arenas and some of the real funny people are shouting throughout the game, it's an incredible experience. It's an atmosphere really like no other compared to any other sport. But you know, they all have a struggle, and I'm going to go over a couple of those. First, let's talk about going to a live hockey game. I feel like hockey is a sport where a lot of the biggest fans don't really have a full grasp of the rules. I feel like some rules that most hockey fans universally understand are when they are offsides, when a goal is no good, like if they kick it in with their skate. I feel like most people would know that. High sticking. So I can think of several times where I've been watching a hockey game and somebody gets knocked to the ground a little rough and people start shouting like, oh, where's the penalty? Well, checking is completely legal. You can knock people down to the ice. Like, of course, not everybody at any given time can knock people down. It just depends on whether they're offense or defense at the time. You can't check a defensive player when you're playing offense. Imagine somebody's playing the puck and they're against the boards and somebody violently just crashes right into them and they crash into the boards and they had no way to defend themselves. That would be boarding. But some people, like, they start to turn around and you could see that they see the person and they kind of brace themselves and then they get hit. That's not boarding. They saw them coming and they prepared for it. Sometimes there are a lot of bad calls. I've seen people get cross-checked clear as day and like right in front of the net too, and it doesn't get called. Cross-check is when you're holding the stick in both hands and you use the stick pretty much as a weapon. There are a lot of really obscure rules too. The goalie's privileged area in the NHL. If you were to draw an invisible line that runs parallel with the boards, that goes from the line behind the goalie and connects with the center of both face-off circles closest to the goalie and then connects together, that's their privileged area. Also, the trapezoid behind the net is also part of that area. Only the trapezoid though. Nowhere else behind that line. There was a time that the goalie raced out, tried to cover the puck outside of his privileged area and also to beat a skater. He's actually breaking two rules. And he was sitting there covering it, wondering why he wasn't getting a whistle, and then the ref was telling him, you better play that puck or else you're going to get a delay of game penalty. The announcers were pretty baffled by this as well, so even some of the announcers don't really know some of those obscure rules. And also, if the goaltender plays the puck with his stick, he has to get rid of it. I feel like the reason they do this is to prevent the goalie from covering the puck constantly in every single circumstance. They just want to keep the game going. But then there's a few people that they seem to be huge fans, but they don't understand really simple things like when there's a delayed penalty and the goaltender of the team that's going to go on a power play races out of the net. And they're like, what's he doing? What's he doing? Ah, get back to your position. Some people just want to see blood, want to see fights, and don't really care much for the game. Okay, another thing. When you want to buy an NHL jersey, whether it's Premier or Authentic, they're both very expensive. Like Premier jerseys can be about $200 or about $150, something like that. And then Authentics can be nearly $300 or more. It's crazy. Every now and then you can get like a really cheap jersey for some theme that was a couple months ago or something. I mean, you can't get your jersey with your favorite player customized on it very easily, especially if they were a star or are. Man, and I mean, heck, if you want to get an autographed Premier jersey, that could be about $300. Let's say you're sitting in your seat and it's intermission and you got a crap. Have you ever tried to poop while wearing a hockey jersey? It is difficult. Hockey jerseys come really far down, like very far down, especially if they're authentic. You have to like hold it up and it keeps on wanting to drift down on you. And even when you're wiping, you're afraid you're going to brush your poop streak all over your jersey. I wear my hockey jersey all the time. And I crap in my house wearing my hockey jersey. And I'm scared to death. Sometimes I just take it right off. Let's see, what else is there? Oh yeah, this is another one, but I feel like this one would fall in any category of any sport. Me and my buddy go to a lot of Indy Fuel games. There it seems to always be a couple sitting right behind us. And they're always saying all this stupid crap like, when we get home, I'm going to do this and this. And then the girl's like, oh, get stop it, we're in public. They're taking a tone like they feel like they're being discreet, but they're really not. Everybody around them could definitely hear them. It was taken away from the game. We were listening to what they were saying, and it was distracting. And then when we went to a Blue Jackets game once, me and him too, there was this girl sitting next to me and she was a Penguins fan. That's who they were playing. There were so many Penguins fans in the Nationwide Arena, it wasn't even funny. There were so freaking many of them. There was all kinds of bull crap calls, and geez, I was livid. I was shouting at them. I was giving those refs all kinds of crap. Third period, her and her mom switched places, and I was like, okay, whatever. So now her mom's sitting next to me, and all of a sudden her mom just kind of out of nowhere starts talking to me, saying, that girl that was sitting next to me, that beautiful girl, which is actually what she said, that's my daughter. And I was like, cool. And she's like a big Penguins fan. I don't think you're the one. And I was like, well, you said it, not me. And I'm married too. I didn't tell her that, but this lady just keeps going on and on, even though I'm not talking to her, talking about her daughter. And every now and then I would just kind of look over at her husband, who was sitting on the other side of her, like, hey dude. And also kind of to see if he's giving me any kind of looks or anything, because I by no means initiated that. And then there was this big dude that was sitting in front of us that was, the game went into overtime, and I'm guessing that this guy had not watched much of the Blue Jackets this year, because they are doing very well this year. He's like, oh, this is where the Penguins are going to get them. The Blue Jackets have no skill in overtime, even though we've won several games in overtime. And then right when he says that, we steal the puck and score and win in overtime. And he's leaving, and my buddy Tom's like, oh, they're not going to take that one back. Back to Pittsburgh. Bye-bye. And this guy turns around. I was almost certain that me and Tom were going to get in a fight with this guy. But he didn't. He turned her back around and left. And, jeez, it was pretty funny, though. I enjoyed that. Oh, they're not going to take that one back. Back to Pittsburgh. Bye-bye.